It's about 8:30 in the morning on Saturday, March 11th, 2023. It's about 55 degrees. There's a very light amount of rain, just a tiny sprinkle. It's just wet. And I checked the rain meter this morning, finally, and it read 1.25 inches. So we've been getting some pretty good rain over the last few days. This paddock's a lot better than the one last night. I remember looking at it and thinking there wasn't much grass here, but getting excited about what's coming up here. And it looks like the cows are almost as excited as I am, or if not more. It's just gray. There's no sun. There's no sky, just gray. Today, however, the forecast is 76 degrees, so it should get pretty nice in the afternoon move. And I think we have some rain coming up soon. What is that, Blue? What was that? My daughter noticed that I hold my camera at about my neck height, and one of the reasons I do that is because I know most people aren't as tall as me. So, and then I took a video of what it looks like at my height. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to raise it up. Here we go. All right. This is what the world looks like to me. I just noticed that because when Blue attacked Dusty there, I could see it clearly, but you couldn't. So this is kind of what I see. Another viewer that I know, she lives not too far from me. She's not quite as tall as me, I'll put it that way. And she felt like my videos were too tall because I was looking over the cows. She's probably down here. This is what she sees. Yeah. So it's kind of like when you're driving in a big truck versus a small car. The road looks completely different. Oh, look at that calf scratching his face. Anyway, this is where I like to keep it. It's comfortable to hold. I think it makes the best video. And I think this is the average height of most people. So, look at this grass. Hopefully this grass is long enough that it's no longer too full of protein. So we shouldn't see the running manure much more, especially when you look out in the next pasture and beyond. Grass is quite thick. It's like a blanket. There is a combination of green things in the ground here. And there's so many that I can't even begin to identify them. There's a very thin grass-like thing that's in between the dead spots here. Here's a good example of that. So there's a bit of bare ground there. And in the middle of that bare ground is this tiny, thin grass, which I don't know what it is, but it's all over the place. It's kind of a pale green, almost a yellow. And then there's these leafy things that are just all over the place, mixed in with the clovers. And of course the flowers, we have wildflowers too. So I can't even begin. There's probably, I'm looking at least 10 or 20 species of things here that I can only identify one or two of, So, yeah, I have a lot to learn about what's growing out here. And just to understand what nature's trying to tell me. There are a lot of broadleaf plants here. I kind of like seeing that the bare ground is being filled in by stuff. It doesn't have to be grass, just anything that grows there is good. Keep the soil in place, put some roots down. Is that like an anthill? I think that's an anthill. Yeah. They don't always go for that. Well, they've already done this. You see how they cut the grass? They don't go down to the root. So if I had more grass or a bigger pasture, they might not even do more than just take the tips off. Tip grazing, I guess you call it. Not quite there yet, though. Not quite to the point where I want to try to tip graze. I'm thinking about, because the early pasture on the north side of my field, I'm traveling south as I move rows, but I'm thinking the north side, I could try to do tip grazing. Because up until about a third of the way down the field, the grass is growing at the same height. So I'm thinking about trying it there. But I don't want to eat myself out of spring grass and then overgraze particular areas. I don't know, maybe that's what I have to do, is treat some ground well and abuse other pieces of ground. You know, maybe like do tip grazing for like half the pasture, and then in a small area of the pasture, I give them a small amount of space and let them just destroy it. You know, the net result would be part of my pasture grows extremely well at the expense of some of my pasture, but I haven't quite decided what to do there. So I think this is working so far, and I like it. And last year, even though we had the drought, there was a point, I think it was because March was cold last year. I remember March was cold, and then late March it warmed up, and then April the grass exploded, got up to my knees all across my pasture, sometimes up to my waist. And then May came and it got hot quick, so the grass, turned brown. But I'm thinking that hopefully in a week or so the grass will explode. I'm looking at the weather, it looks like it's gonna be pretty warm for a while. And then maybe we'll get all of April with lots of grass. And so whether I graze a large area quickly and abuse a small area or not, it probably won't make a big difference. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Take care and bye-bye.